Hello, welcome to another session of Elixir with me. If you're new to the channel, my name is Tracy Pendo Onim and I'm a software developer programming with Elixir for 5 years now. On today's session, we shall focus on name registering of processes with dynamic names using Registry. There are some places when you visit, usually the security guard has to write down your details maybe in a book before you are given access to the building. For every visitor who wants access to the building has to go through the same process. For manual process where details has to be entered into a book, it will definitely result into piles of book accumulating. So far, we have been registering our Gen server process using atoms. One thing you should know with atoms, they are not garbage collected. Garbage collection is a memory management process where a memory is usually reclaimed from the objects that are no longer in use. Imagine a scenario where you want to register processes dynamically. This will definitely be risky when using atoms, knowing very well that they are not garbage collected. Let me give you an example. You have an application which handles checkout. For every user that performs a checkout, a new process is created. This process will be dynamically registered with an atom name. In such cases, usually you don't have a control over how many atoms will be created. This is because you don't know how many times one user can perform the checkout process, and also you don't know how many users will interact with the checkout. Over time, this will definitely lead to excessive memory usage of your application. In Elixir documentation, it's clearly stated if there's an interest in registering dynamic names locally, do not use atoms as atoms are never garbage collected, and therefore dynamically generated atoms won't be garbage collected. For such cases, you can set up your own local registry by using the registry. Registry in Elixir is a key value process storage. So once you store your process in a registry, you are able to look up for that process using the key that you assigned to it. So since we are dynamically starting our customer tracker server using Dynamic Supervisor, we can now switch from registering our process with Atom to using registry. We can go ahead now and configure a registry that will be responsible for all the process that will be dynamically started. There are two ways we can go about this. First, it's either to start the registry as the child of the main supervisor of the application, or we can call the registry start link function that will start the registry. Let's pass it as a child of the main supervisor. We'll add it here in the list of children. That will be registry. You have to specify the keys. If the key should be unique or a duplicate, you can decide to register processes with duplicate names, or you can decide to register process with unique names. So let's use unique. Then you have to pass the name. So this is the name of the registry. Let's call it the customer tracker registry. Yeah, we can have it as the customer tracker registry. Next, we shall specify how we want to register the Gen server process using the VIA. This is the format that will be used, the VIA format that will be used. So we need this registry, then this replaces with the registry name that we are using, and our registry name is the customer tracker registry. Then this specifies the name that you want to use. So here we have passed the name of the registry, and also we need to pass the name. So the name is the one that we are getting from the options. The options is the one that was containing the name key. Now I want to pass this as a string instead of an atom, and then this can remain as it was. So options. The other thing I want to change is the server name. So here we were passing the server name as an atom. Let's change this to string. So this, instead of an atom, let's pass it as a string. Okay, so now we are ready. So let's spin up the server and start the processes. So that is ix-s mix command. So we are calling the customer tracker server. The function is tracker server. So this is the function which I'm calling, the tracker servers. If you recall well, in this tracker server function, we were dynamically starting the gen server process. So let's call the tracker server, and we have 5 processes which are dynamically started. We have 5 processes which are dynamically started, and they're all registered with different names that we passed. I want us to check the PIDs that will be returned with the name that we have registered the process with. So we shall use the gen server where is function, which takes in the name of the process. So remember, we have a different server name that we registered our process with. We can pick 2 of the names. So this is how we are naming our gen server. So first, let's copy this. Create a variable, maybe name 1. So definitely options is not defined. Let's create a variable name 1, and we have the name of our server. So I had closed this. Also, let's create another variable name 2, then call the gen server where is function and pass it the first name. And you see we have this PID. Then call it with the second name. It will give you a different PID. So we have 2 different PIDs. So these are 2 different processes that have been started with different names. The other way that you can use to check the PIDs, the processes that has been started. So let's look at the processes stored in registry using the registry lookup function. So call the registry.lookup and give it the name of the registry. So the name of the registry is the one that you had configured with. I'll copy this and also give it the name of the process. So the name of the process is this. Now we are not using the whole var, but only the name that you had passed in the var. So you can see this PID is matching with this. Remember, a registry is a key value process storage. If you look up for that process, it's returning the process and another value as nil. So this is because we did not pass a value for the process. So the key is the PID. Let's do the same for the second process. You'll see its PID is matching with what we had for the name2 variable. So we have configured our registry as a child of the application main supervisor. Another way you can start a registry is by using the registry start link function. That is, just call the registry the start link function, pass the keys. Remember, you can pass it as unique or as a duplicate, and also give it a name. We already have a registry, so we named it customer tracker registry. For this, let's name it another registry. This is another registry that has been started. Let's see what happens if we give it an existing registry. So that was customer tracker registry. You're told that it's already started, and yes, it was started once we started our application. That's it for this session. We have seen why atoms are not good for registering your gen server process, more so if you're using dynamic names. And if you're using dynamic names to register your process, prefer using registry. As usual, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to follow for more Elixir tutorials.